This is Jonathan Aguilar here for Pro Boxing Fans. I'm delighted to have Dave Coldwell on this Sunday morning. Dave, how are you feeling?
A little bit tired, but I'm all right, mate. Yeah. I was just saying, I think there's going to be a few of us that are a little bit tired today.
Absolutely. Was a dramatic night in Texas last night. Canelo Alvarez unifying the division against Billy Joe Saunders. Did the fight play out as you were expecting, Dave?
Yeah, pretty much so. What I find is that I said before, I believe that Billy Joe's very, very good, but I just think that Canelo's that elite level. And in fights like that, we've seen it before with Campbell and Lomachenko, Bellew with Usyk, even Mayweather's Judah. First 6 rounds or so, the other guy looks like they're in it and they're competing, and some people think that they're doing enough to win, but then down the stretch, that's when then the effects of what the elite level fighter has been doing in the early rounds kind of catches up on them, and you see they stretch out a little bit towards the end. And I felt that was how that was going. I thought Billy put up a great fight, but yeah, Canelo was just he's one on his own right now, to be honest, in my opinion.
I mean, Billy sort of got into the fight, it seemed, sort of from around round 3 onwards. Did you think, he was having some good success in there? It certainly seemed like it in sort of
It was having success. I mean, I've seen a lot of people saying that they thought Billy was winning it. I didn't think he was winning it personally. I think a lot of what Canelo's ploy and game plans are is that he makes you work when you don't want to work, or makes you work more than you would rather work, makes him miss by centimeters. A lot of the shots are just missing, or he's parrying. Yes, you get through, so it's boxing, you're going to get hit. But he does seem, while he's patiently putting that pressure on. The one thing that I would say, obviously, is that Canelo was loading up a lot on single shots, which allowed Billy to win a couple of rounds, a few of the rounds. But it was all, it's like what we saw against Kovalev. Kovalev was outworking him. Everyone's thinking, oh, what's happening here? And then he gets rid of him. Everything that he's kind of doing early doors pays off down the stretch.
Was it his power that you're most impressed by? Because he seemed to sort of...
No, it's his defense. It's his defense that I'm most impressed with. The power thing, yeah, obviously he punches, very, very hard. But like I said, the one thing that I will say, the one thing for me that I would be not disappointed, but one thing for me as a fan and watching him, he just seemed to load up on the single shots, really, really, really hard single shots for 1 or 2 of the rounds. Where then I thought, okay, this is where Billy's having the success outworking him, but he's still having to work a lot to keep him off because Canelo's just walking through. But obviously, he wasn't making any secret about it. He wanted to do damage on Billy. He wanted to stop Billy. He wanted to knock him out. So yeah, that's where you probably loading up a little bit more than what he should have done, could have done.
Mm-hmm. He landed a huge uppercut in that 8th round, and it seemed like Billy did well to sort of stay in, sort of get through the round. What did you make of sort of the finish to the fight? Did Mark Tibbs make the right compassionate call?
Yeah, from a coach's point of view, yeah. I mean, I remember in that round watching it, and I thought you could see it was unraveling. You could see then that he was starting to take punishment, and it was a pretty torrid round. And that's where you can see what's coming next. And this is where me looking at the fight before, and I was expecting Billy to tire later on, and once he starts tiring, then he gets ragged with his punches and leaving more gaps, and Canelo then working him over. And that's what I expected to see, from that point on when he went back to the corner. Obviously, when he come back to the corner, Mark Tibbs is looking out for him. He's seen that there's a difference between the tissue that swells, when we always see eye swellings and the working on the end swell and fighters are going out round after round. And then there's a different when if you see the dint, or if you see the damage to the orbital socket and to the bone itself. You have to make that call. It's very, very difficult as a coach, because it's a massive fight. It's a huge fight, especially if you're in the fight, but also you're also looking out for your fighter and thinking he's giving his best. He's getting worked over now, and if there is a possibility of that eye damage being serious, then you've got to think about life after boxing. Do you know what I mean?
We obviously saw that Billy Joe's gone to hospital, or did go to hospital. It's sort of 2 o'clock UK times. We haven't heard an update yet. But if he had gone out for that 9th round, if Mark Tibbs had allowed him, would that have been a brave decision with sort of the way Canelo was coming on?
Been a very brave decision. What, from the corner? Would have been a very brave decision, because from my point of view, at that point, then for me, I'm thinking he's gonna get battered. Now he's gonna get worked over. Now, I didn't think that from that point. I thought he's done well. He's had his success, but now this is where they're the body shots from early on, the amount of work that Billy was having to do, the movement, everything. The more chances down the stretch that he's going to get tired. And that was what was happening. It's not just a case of one shot, not in my opinion. It's not just a case of one shot. It's what was coming before that. And then the one shot damaged the eye, but he got worked over in that round. And for me, he was just going to get worked over more and get stopped and possibly knocked out. So people think it's not a brave decision to pull a fighter out. It's a brave decision to pull a fighter out, because you're going to get a shitstorm after it. People are going to mock your fighter. People like to do that, but for me, I think it wouldn't have been a brave decision to send him back out there. I think it would have been a dangerous decision, to be honest. This is boxing. So fighters have to make. There are certain fighters that will, he didn't quit in the ring. He didn't quit in mid round, during the round. He's gone back to the corner. He's been pulled out by his coach. There are fighters that will go through absolutely everything during that 3 minutes. They'll go through everything: broken jaw, eyes popping out, whatever, broken hands, whatever. Then there are fighters that will they hit a threshold that's not as high as somebody else's, and then they'll make that decision to pull out of a fight, to quit, to take a knee or whatever. That is for them to decide. That is for them to choose. But once you get back to the corner, it gives, that's where the coach has then kind of got to use his judgment as well to say, okay, I'm not letting you go back out there. It is difficult, because like I said, you're going to get slated, you get slagged off, people are going to question this, question that. But, I would rather a coach take it out of the fighter's hands than leave it to the fighter, because unless that pain's excruciating, 9 times out of 10, these fighters will go on. Like I said, different people. It's like in every walk of life. Different people have different pain thresholds and are willing to do more than others, willing to go through more than others, willing to sacrifice more than others. But it doesn't make it wrong or right. It doesn't make them right for going through it and then having permanent damage afterwards. It doesn't make them right for choosing to check out. It doesn't make them wrong for choosing to check out, should I say, because they're looking after their health, what they can go through. Nobody knows the pain that a fighter's going through. It's like when somebody gets in the ring for a journalist or a fan or whatever, they do a bit of sparring, go to a gym to train a little bit, and they get caught on nose, and that shot on nose, and they're flinching every time. Well, fighters don't even flinch at that. There's a different pain threshold. There's different pain thresholds as you go on, and it's not just sorry, somebody came through on a call then, and it's not just black and white.
Mm. In terms of Canelo, it looks like that Caleb Plant fight is the one that's going to take him. Well, it's the undisputed fight. Do you see
Yeah.
Caleb Plant, causing problems to him as well? I mean, he's a slick guy, or do you think Canelo will have too much for him?
Again, Caleb Plant is a good fighter, a very good fighter, but good fighters are going to have success against everybody. But it's a 12-round fight, and there's having successes, and there's being able to beat somebody. I don't believe that there's anybody at 168 that can beat Canelo right now. I think he's a man on his own in that division. So I do think it's a really good fight. I think it's an entertaining fight to watch. But do I think that Caleb Plant beats Canelo? No.
What do you think it'll take for someone to beat Canelo Alvarez? Is it, if he goes up too high in weight? I mean, he's already won a world title 175. Is it if he comes back down to 160, the weight cut? What do you think? Or do you see anyone capable right now in his prime of defeating him?
It's a similar sort of thing I always felt about Lomachenko was he's going to push himself that little bit too far with the weight divisions where somebody's naturally bigger than him. Somebody's got that power that's going to hurt him and make him wear it. And also that's at elite level themselves, that's at a top level themselves. So you can give away, size, weight advantage, strength, whatever, against guys that aren't on your level or guys that are just below your level. But when you're talking about two high quality elite level fighters and one's got the natural attributes, they're going to be the favorite. That's when it comes like, oh, okay, maybe that's a little bit too much, and I think that's what will catch him out, maybe when if he goes back to light heavyweight. It's very difficult to say because he is very good at what he does. What he did with Kovalev was that was a great job, but it wasn't a Kovalev at his prime, but it's still Kovalev. It's still, a fearsome puncher at light heavyweight, a strong man at light heavyweight, Beterbiev, for me, he's a killer, an absolute killer, but he himself can get hurt. He himself is vulnerable. That's a good fight. That is a very, very good fight. But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised Canelo beats Beterbiev. But then again, you could see him landing a big bomb on Canelo and switching the lights off on Canelo. It's one of those. That's a great fight if he goes back up to light heavyweight. But I don't know. I do think it's going away division too much. I can't see anybody at super middleweight beating him. I can't.
In terms of Billy Joe, first things first, I'm sure, we all want to see him make sure he's okay. We haven't heard anything as of yet. But do you think, we will see, him back? Because he clearly proved he's proved a number of times he's at that world level, but he's made a lot of money. There's a number of different fights out there. What do you think happens with Billy Joe, providing he makes full recovery?
I don't know. It's all down to desire, isn't it? It's all down to desire. The problem is he's won a couple of world titles. He's made a lot of money. He's set for life. His family's set for life. His kids, everything. He's a family man. Is he gonna have that desire and that fire burning inside of him to be asked to get himself in shape? Because we all know he gets himself out of shape in between fights, which is part of the reason why I think that he's not being as great as what his potential could have given him. Still a very, very good fighter, but in between fights, ballooning up and things like that. Now, when he looks at it now in the landscape, now what is there for him to do really? Is there a domestic showdown with a Callum Smith here? But has Callum Smith gone to light heavyweight? So if that's gone, then what is that? I don't know. It depends on his diet if he wants to come back and pick up other world titles and things like that. But it's he's already been world champion. He's made lots of money. what is there left for him.
Just lastly, sort of on the fight itself, you mentioned sort of the inactivity. Do you think that played any sort of factor in the fight? Obviously, Canelo's been really active, especially the last 6 months or so. Do you think that played any part in sort of how the fight played out?
Possibly, but for me, it's like round one, Canelo comes out and no, he doesn't throw a lot, but Billy is making Billy throw a lot and miss a lot, and he's just missing by centimeters, and he's walking around, he's putting that pressure on you. And it's Canelo's defense, it's Canelo's ring generalship. You know, there's a mixture of things. Yes, you can say Billy's inactivity, but it's not just one thing. There's a lot of factors in that fight. The reason what happened, you know, some people like to say, oh, it was, you know, it was only because of the injury. You got, well, the injury was caused by a punch. The object of boxing is to land your shots. You know, that's, you know, it's not a fluke. It's the damage of the punch that landed. You know, whether it lands on your body and takes the wind out of you, that's the damage that ends the fight. You know, he's got hit on the eye that's essentially ended the fight. So it's nothing lucky about it. It's the ability of Canelo, the performance of Canelo on the night. Billy gave the best that he had. I think all we can do is ask fighters to give us the best, and I don't think you can doubt that Billy gave his best on that night.
Moving on to next week, Lerrone Richards returns. Big European super middleweight title fight in the bubble next week. I'm actually looking forward to Lerrone and seeing how he can do it at this European level.
Yeah, so am I. It's a big stage for him. It's a big opportunity for him. You know, he understands now that he can't be comfortable just being comfortable. You know, in a lot of his performances, including his last one, his first fight with me, he was comfortable being comfortable. You know, he didn't take himself out of that into that next gear. You know, and that's been a big thing that I've been trying to work on with him. And when he goes through the gears, he's a very, very good fighter, very, very good fighter. And when he just stays comfortable and happy with what he's doing, then he's a very frustrating fighter. But as we've gone on, the weeks have gone on, and as the weeks have counted down towards this fight, these last 3 weeks of the last 3 weeks of sparring, I'm happy. Prior to that, I wasn't happy because he was just being Lerrone, just being laid back and just doing what he wants to do, which I think we all feel is the frustrating thing about Lerrone. If you know Lerrone in his career, but these last 3 weeks of sparring, I have been very happy with him. You know, he's got his punch rates gone up. His desire to do more has increased. Yeah, it's been very, very good. So it's been great to watch as well. So he's in a really, really good place. We're very confident, and if he goes in there, he knows he can't just go in there to win, like just get the win. He knows that, because the thing is with Eddie and Matchroom and television and fans, it's not enough just to go in there and let people think that you could do more. Especially when you're fighting for titles and you know, you're talking about wanting to push on and progress. I think you have to entertain, and that doesn't mean that you have to be a knockout merchant. People are entertained by boxing, but not just look casual and happy just to do enough. And Lerrone gets that now, and his attitude over the last few weeks now has just switched into gear, and I'm very happy. I'm looking forward to it, and I think, like I said, he's got a great platform to go out there and show people what he's about.
What are you expecting from Giovanni Corrales? What have you been preparing for in him?
Been preparing for a very experienced fighter, former world champion, that's heavy-handed, that's strong, physically strong, and that's gonna, you know, that's gonna have looked at Lerrone and think, you have to make him work, make him be uncomfortable, and make him have to work. And that's what we've prepared for, you know. He's cleverer than what you think as well. But this is what it's about, you know. If you fight for your European title, you should be fighting a good fighter. You should be fighting an experienced fighter. You know, it's a big title. It's a good title. And before, you know, Lerrone's 14 fights in, so he's still inexperienced. He's still learning about himself. You know, he's still learning about himself in fight situations. I think, you know, I think his fights that he's had in the past will see him in good stead for this fight. The experiences, you know, boxing your Tommy Langfords, boxing your Lennox Clarks, you know, fight like real fights. I know at a domestic level, but they're real fights going in there, you know, and fights where he's lost some rounds and come back, and you need things like that when you're going into the bigger fights, and it helps prepare you, it helps build a fight. When you see these guys winning every single round of their pro career and not facing anything, and then all of a sudden they start losing rounds when they step up, and it's like, oh, what's happening here? When you're in at that level where the guys are good, experienced, and clever, once they get that grip into a fight, sometimes it's very hard to shake them and get them back out of the grip. But whereas early doors in your career, domestic level, or if you have a couple of rounds like that and then you get back on track, it's giving you that experience of handling things like that and understanding, okay, I lose 2 rounds on the trot, I can come back from that, you know, rather than panic buttons being pressed and worrying, thinking that I've lost my rhythm, I can't get it back. There's all sorts to building a fighter going forward, and European level is usually a very, very good level for them to learn at.
Yeah. Look forward to that fight. Hopefully one of the last ones behind closed doors as well. Don't know about you, but having all those fans, you just want to see that OT filled at some point.
Yeah, definitely. Do you know what? It was like watching that last night, I just thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, the atmosphere was incredible. Just seeing fans at a boxing show, seeing fighters come out to fans and things like that. It's just, that's what it's about. That's what sport's about, you know, boxing, football, whatever. We need crowds, we need fans, we need that atmosphere. I don't think people understand, or I think maybe they underestimate what a big factor that's been with fighters having to fight behind closed doors. It's really, really flat. It is really flat. And I know they're there to do a job and they have to get the job done. And we have seen some great fights, but it takes a lot away from it. It does take a lot away from it. And then even, you know, you win your fight and there's no crowds there. It's such a killer because you feel like a twat trying to celebrate, because it's like there's no atmosphere to bounce off or anything, and everyone can hear every little thing, and it's we've missed fans, and I'm so glad that we seem to be getting to that point now where hopefully we're going to start having fans back in.
As a trainer, do you find it better or easier in the sense that, you know, maybe the fight is a bit more concentrated, they can't hear the crowd, or how do you find it as a trainer?
Yeah, I mean, as a trainer, it makes no difference because we can't get wrapped up in with the fans. When you've actually got a fighter in, you've just got to focus on your job. But in terms of your fighters have got no excuse not to listen. But also the thing is some fighters can. I know some fighters have during this, you know, the boxing behind closed doors. They've been a little bit more I don't know what's more likely to just drift, more likely to kind of be at that sparring level mentality sort of thing, and not being able to go up through the gears. Some fighters. I mean, with the guys that I've had on, I've been lucky. Hopi Price, Jordan Gill, they've both boxed twice. Lerrone's done 1 fight behind closed doors, and they're we're very thinking fighters and listen to instructions and go. I mean, Lerrone's fight was a little bit different because he put the guy in a box and the guy didn't want to come out basically, and so it was just a case of trying to open him up. But that's not part of Lerrone's game yet. Or at that point, it's not part of his game yet. Going there for the kill, kind of like opening up to finish. But concentration-wise, and be able to get instructions to your fighters, it's easier, because they are literally hearing everything, and it also allows them to concentrate more because they're not hearing everything. But it's I think majority of fighters love that with the crowd and love the atmosphere.
Well, Jordan Gill, sort of broke the Mexican duck, as it was in the UK with that win over Cesar Juarez. Impressive win. What sort of the next stages with Jordan? Obviously, that Isaac Lowe fight's being talked about. Is Jordan back in the gym training ahead of possible return?
Yeah, just it's same with that part. We just train. Hope is in the gym training. We ain't got any dates, but we're just training to get better, training to improve. And Jordan, for me, he just showed that listen, people. And I know when he boxed Bellotti, and then again when he boxed Juarez, TV people, other saying about, oh yeah, fantastic boxing ability, but he ain't got no power. He'll get beat when he steps in against a banger. He'll get beat when he steps up. I've seen enough fighters that can punch really, really hard, stand there having a tear up and get knocked out themselves. So, Jordan went in there against Juarez, who's proven at a high level. He's a non-stop puncher. He works hard. He can bang. He goes to the body. He's durable. If he'd have gone in there and stood his ground and held his feet and gone there to bang, like he did with Tinoco, same result of what happened with Tinoco had happened. No doubt about it. But he didn't. He boxed smart. You don't have to hit as hard as the man in front of you. You just have to beat him. Don't let the power count. And that's what he did. And Jordan, it's hard enough to get your respect, because otherwise it just walks right through and just swarm all over him. Isaac Lowe, that's a fight that's been spoke about. I don't think Jordan's in their plans right now. It's a fight that we would love, Jordan would love. Isaac 1 minute says that he wants that Jordan needs a slap and this, then next minute says he don't need him. So, I don't think that's a fight that he wants. And if I were Isaac Lowe, then I understand that. I get that. But it's a good fight. It's a good, good fight domestically, but also on a world level. You've got Isaac that's ranked in the top 15. You've got Jordan at 13 in IBF. You've got Jordan at number 4 in the WBA. It's a good fight. It's a very good fight. And I can't say that it's a fight that people don't want to see. I think they would want to see that. It'd be ideal on the Fury AJ undercard. Isaac Lowe always boxes on a Tyson Fury undercard, so it's a real fight. It's a real fight. So fingers crossed. If not, then we've been after that European title for Jordan for a year, more than a year. I'd love to get that fight for him. But if not, he's WBA number 4, so he's very, very close. So we will see. It's going to be interesting. I just see what Eddie and Matchroom can deliver.
And Hopey Price progressing well. Really, really impressed. I think a lot of people have been impressed. How have you seen him progress over the last year, especially since sort of fight camp?
Mate, that kid's the real deal. Forget about what you've seen in his 2 fights. What he does is what we work on in the gym, little things to prepare him for when he steps up properly and he goes down the line in his career, is he will do in the fights. So that's how we're seeing it. That's what we're doing. He's not going in there to or bang people out or to do this. It's little things that we're doing in the gym, and then he's getting more and more comfortable with it. The sparring since his last fight, the regular constant sparring with Leon Woodstock, the sparring with Akib Fiaz, the sparring with Kid Galahad, as well as Jordan in-house, the sparring that he's getting is very, very good quality sparring. You know, and again, for his development, what we're doing in the gym, right? Okay, let's do this today. Let's just do that today, and he goes out there and does it. This kid is very, very good. His intelligence in that ring is fantastic. You teach him something, he picks it up, he drills it. We get it. You know, he's very good, mate. He's 21 years old, just 21. His next fight, he's ready for 8 rounders now. He's had 2 6-rounders, I think. He's ready for 8 rounders. Riaz, Mahmoud, Zaid Hussein, if he wants it again, you know, he pulled out a last one. These kids that are good, I think 14-1, 16-1, things like that. You know, these are good kids, good domestic kids. But you know, that's when you're going to see the best of all. You know, you speak to Leon Woodstock, ask him what he thinks. You speak to Kid Galahad, ask him what he thinks of Hope. It's not what to think of him right now. See the development he's doing and what he's doing in comparison when they first started sparring, and how comfortable he is under pressure. You know, he's not one of these tall, rangy kids that once you get to him, oh, that's it, he'll fall apart. That's the reason that I've been sparring with people that are bigger than him, stronger than him. You know, he's had rounds with Lee Wood. He's had rounds with some good quality fighters, and everybody that's been in the ring with him will tell you what he's about. You know, and they're only seeing what we're working on for that day. You know, it's like when he goes and spars at the Ingles with Kid Galahad. That's a tough, horrible, rough spar. We all know what Barry is, you know. But you see the progression of when they first started sparring to how it is now. You see him developing. You see him getting comfortable with things like that. You know, sparring is not about, when you got a young prospect, it's not about your kid looking top dog every single spar and just dominating every single spar. I don't give a shit about that. I look at how he's developing, and you know, this kid's special, and this, you know, he's very, very good, very, very good. And the best thing about it is mentality, and his mindset is second to none. You know, he's not a kid that goes out of the gym and starts eating crap. Goes, you know, wants to party with his mate. Family gym. That's what you know, that's what it's about. His family's backing with him in the sport has always been phenomenal, and still continues to do so. He's got a very good, stable home life. He's got a parents that are very, very supportive. His brothers are in boxing. He lives for this sport, and he's, you know, I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about his weight. He's massive for the weight. His last fight, he could have weighed 812, but he was very, very comfortable. And we had breakfast on the morning of the weight, and he weighed 810. Yeah, he's already made super bantamweight. So anyone that thinks, oh yeah, but you can't do super bantamweight, I didn't sign him to be a certain weight. It's just that that's the weight he is right now. That's the weight that he's comfortable at right now. And that's the weight he's a serious problem at right now. But as he goes up to the divisions as well, he's only going to get better. He's only going to get stronger. He's worked with Danny Wilson and Boxing Science for the S&C. That's now kicking in. He's about a year in now, and you see the difference in him now with that. You know, we wanted to check all the boxes straight away. Working with Scott Robinson with his nutrition right from day one. As soon as he came to me, I said, right, you're only a baby. I need you to get these things into place now, because they're going to pay off when you're 23, when you're 24, 25. As you're growing into a man, they're going to pay off. You know, Jordan's always said he started work with Danny. I think he was 20, 21. I can't remember how old he said he was. But now you're seeing, I don't know, forget about the punching. I'm talking about physical strength. I'm talking about being able to cope with things on the inside just through your strength. Now you're seeing the strength and conditioning of Jordan paying off, but it's took the years to get there. So the earlier that you're starting, the better. And so, like I said, you know, with Hope, you're going to see the benefits in a couple of years' time. He's 21 years old.
Mm. And finally, are you looking to add any more people to your stable? You obviously manage a number of people as well.
I never look to add anybody, but if, you know, when people are asking if you tick the boxes sort of thing, and if I'm excited about it, then I say yeah. But I said no to Jordan. I said no to Lerrone. I said no to Hope.
All right.
When I was approached, you know, when I was approached by those, you know, I said no to Fowler. Every single one of them, you know. But you get to meet them, and or, you know, they talk to you and you identify with it and think, you know what, yeah. And so then we've ended up working together. I'm so glad. I'm so glad I did end up getting him, giving him an opportunity to come and meet and speak to him. No, listen, my job is to help these kids reach the goals, fulfill the dreams. I don't see I don't see myself as a trainer and got full stable. So I'm not interested in that. I need to be able to give my time to each fighter to the max. I don't have assistants and things like that. I can't have a gym full of like 12 fighters, 10 fighters, where every other week there's a fighter out. I can't do that. There's only me. I said when I came back and when Bellew brought me back into coaching, it was just me and Bellew. And then I think Fowler came along. Then David Price asked to. I got a phone call from Sowlands asking me to look after Price. And again, I didn't want to do that at first, but I've known Pricey for a long time, so I spoke to Pricey and we spoke, and so we did. So one by one they come. I fell into the Jamie and Gavin McDonnell one. But I always said 5 would be my max. I know 5 I can give all my time properly. So 5's my max. I've got 3 now. Yes, there are 2 gaps, but it depends on who they are and if they fit in and if I'm going to enjoy it really.
Well, Dave, best of luck next week in the bubble with Lerrone, big European title
Cheers,
fight.
mate.
Appreciate you coming on, and yeah, back to bed for me and
Nice one, mate.